What's going on YouTube? Mike here with I Heart Knives, and in this video we're going to be doing a review on the Benchmade 940-1 in S90V and carbon fiber. So this knife comes by way of Mike. Mike Likes Knives on Instagram and also on YouTube. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or comment to Mike thanking him for the knife. He lent it to the channel. And I've had it now for about 3.5 weeks, plus or minus. I've sharpened it, and you guys will see that video too. I was going to do a first impressions, but with timing and everything, I figured I would just go ahead and start using the knife and then do a review instead and talk about, you know, how I've liked the knife thus far. A couple of quick things. I haven't done it in a while. I want to thank all the originals who started out with me. Guys like KME User, Mike Likes Knives, Patty's Potato Peelers, Steve, Chef Kalari on Instagram, Super Steel Steve, you guys all know, In the Pocket, Kenny, Jeff Jewell, channels to go check out, Tom Hosang Outdoors, obviously Jeff Jewell, Super Steel Steve, Patty's Potato Peelers, In the Pocket, go check all them out, and then go check out like Triple B. I'm sure everybody that's already subbed to me probably is subbed to all these channels, but you know, just wanted to give thanks to all those, not all of them, but 90% of the guys that I named were guys who helped my channel grow, especially Steve, Patty, and Jeff Jewell. Oh, and Outpost 76, Gerald. Gerald was the first to like name my channel, and I don't know why I always name him last, but him and Patty were the two most important, so thank you guys. And Gerald, I'm still waiting on my Delica, my M390 Delica cut test, but I know you're busy with other stuff, but I can't wait to see what that cut test is. So let's go ahead and talk about the 940. So again, this is the 940-1. It's the carbon fiber S90 version, S90V version. So, you know, it's technically like a super steel. It's a very wear resistant, high vanadium. It bodes well to your EDC tasks. I mean, this is a perfect EDC knife. It's a lightweight, rugged construction, but it also has like a finesse to it. Like, it's very utilitarian, but it's also like a classy knife. But carbon fiber is really strong stuff. And then it has the partial scales, like the quintessential Benchmade scales. So, you know, it's a partial frame, steel, you know, steel liners, and then the scales are they're obviously full length scales. So the steel liners stop about right here where this screw is, right here. There's a screw here and here, and that's where the axis lock is. So inside here you have springs that are shaped in an omega pattern, so they come down and around, and when you pull back, the spring is in a little hole. When you pull back, it releases tension from the lock bar, and that's how you get the drop shut action. Phosphor bronze washers. This thing is sort of dirty, but it still has a great action. That's what's great about Benchmade. All in all, it's an awesome knife. But let's go ahead and get you guys down closer, and I'll continue the review, show you the close-ups on it, and we'll do a couple knife comparisons with it to show you, size, and we'll get the show on the road. So let me move the camera and bring you guys in closer. You know what, one more shout out that I want to do is to my brother, and he got me this mug, and it's a Benchmade mug, and it's really cool. It's got like this matte black, almost like etching sort of, and it has obviously like, you know, a shiny rim, and then the bottom is shiny. I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick this up. I'm trying not to spill coffee. This mug is really, really cool. So to go with the 940, we've got the black mug. Thank you, Vinny, for the mug. That's my brother's name. And let's get into it. So the carbon fiber is finished really nicely. Sometimes you'll see carbon fiber not done very well. I'm not sure if it's molding or machining that they do here. I'm guessing probably machining, but you know how they machine / mold and polish, it's done really nicely. A lot of times on like the edges and stuff, like the hard corners and edges, you'll get like kind of a shitty finish, but they do a really nice job on this knife. I mean, for the price tag it should be, but that's beside the point. So this is an Osborne design, and it's very utilitarian. This knife is, you know, I wouldn't beat on the knife, but it could take some use for sure. The tip is very thick. I know, that's what she said. So, you know, the edge is kind of a fat edge, but it's kind of a good thing too, just because, you know, you probably will never have to worry about the tip breaking on this knife unless you really beat the hell out of it. The axis lock is very strong. I don't suspect any issues with lock fail or anything like that. The S90V took a really nice edge. It's still holding up sharp. Mike had a good edge on it before, and then I sharpened it once just because the edge that he had on it was, I would say, maybe about 60% past its optimal performance. So I stropped it back twice, and then that was the end of it. I couldn't bring it back after that. Now that's with like a fairly polished edge. Mike had, you know, probably like a 1 micron polish roughly. I stropped up to 2 micron on this, and you can see it takes a nice polish. S90V polishes much easier than S110V. For whatever reason, like the scratch pattern and stuff in S90V, it strops and sharpens much easier than S110V in my opinion. It's actually like pretty close to S30V. Maybe just a little bit harder to sharpen, but not much. They do a really nice stone wash. I love the Benchmade stone wash on this knife, and the stone wash is beneficial for, you know, utilitarian type knives. You can still see the grind lines in the knife, but just barely. The stone wash does a good job hiding it. So the thumb studs on it, they're not the most comfortable thumb studs, but they give way to a really nice action. This thing never misfires. It's always really responsive. There's blue back spacers, so hopefully you can see the thumb studs. Let me see if I can get you closer. You should be able to see that. And there's 2 of them. And then you have the area for the axis lock in there. And there, the axis lock right here. Thumb studs. And you can see the S90V edge. And that was done freehand. And I used Veneve bonded diamond stones. And then I went ahead and stropped on 3 micron and 2 micron, and it took a nice edge. They did a swedge on the spine, so you can see how it kind of looks thinned out here. And then it thickens back up here and at the tip, but that's all just an illusion. It's actually, you know, it's a partial swedge, but the thickness is the same throughout the whole thing. So the blade thickness is the same, it's just the very spine that they thin, and you can see up here where they do the swedge. So right here is where that grind line thins out. But again, it's just a false blade thickness, it's a swedge. Let's go ahead and do a couple knife comparisons for size. And I don't have my Benchmade Griptilian. Mike actually has it. He's borrowing my Griptilian and my Microtech SOCOM Elite, which actually I'm missing a lot. I can't wait to get that knife back. That's one that I miss probably more than any other knife. That and my large Inkosi are the two that I love the most at this point anyways. So we'll use the Ritter, the Hogue Ritter RSK Mark II as our backup, and that's pretty close to the Griptilian size. So they're actually very, very similar in size overall, but obviously the Griptilian is much taller. The 940 is a more slender knife, and it works better as like a gentleman's type carry, but also is a daily driver. So it's classy enough and nice enough, and size is perfect for a gentleman type carry, but it's still utilitarian enough that you can use it every single day and put it to work. This is my most carried knife, I would say, for every single day. And that's the Chris Reeve Knives Large Inkosi. And I actually just sharpened this again. I sharpened it once, and I had a pretty brutal day at work, and I had a few chips in the edge, so I ended up having to sharpen it. But just at the very apex, I took it back a little bit to get a couple chips out. I tried salvaging it with stropping, but it was too far gone. So the S90V, it's a funny steel. It's like sort of like a half roll of the edge and a half chip. It was bizarre. Parts of it rolled over, but then parts of it chipped. So it's kind of like that in between. Whereas like Maximet, you're gonna chip it. You're probably not gonna roll it. But VG10 you'll roll, and it's a little bit harder to chip. So the S35VN is like right in between. They kind of get like the optimal performance. I think just Chris Reeve's heat treat is so good with it that you get a really good edge, and it was a breeze to get those chips out. So it's a testament to Chris Reeve and the quality that they uphold with their knives. They're roughly the same size. The large Inkosi is maybe just a little bit longer in the handle, and the overall edge is actually very similar. It's almost exactly the same. The overall blade, the large Inkosi is just a little bit longer, but they're very, very close. Let's do pair 3, and you can see that the pair 3 is a little bit shorter in the handle, but with the 50/50 choil, the handles are basically the same. Without the 50/50 choil, if you were to just use the G10 as your primary grip, then the 940 has maybe like an extra 3/8 of an inch in length. Overall blade length of the 940, you're talking an extra inch of blade, and about the same in cutting edge as well. Let's do Maximet Manix 2 lightweight. These are also almost exactly the same in overall handle length. If you include the 50/50 choil and bring it back to where the carbon fiber starts, then you have about an extra ½ inch of handle, but without the 50/50 choil, the handles are basically exactly the same. The overall blade length, you get about ½ an inch more cutting edge with the 940, and then overall blade length is actually about the same, but that's including the 50/50 choil of the Manix 2 lightweight. And last but certainly not least, the Spyderco Paisan. And this is a knife that was sent to me from KME user, and I have filmed the first impressions. This is a regrind, so this is actually hollow ground, and it's reground. This is an S90V, and This is all solid mono constructed titanium. It's all just one piece that's been milled out, and this is a beautiful knife, and the action on it is superb. So overall handle length, the Paisan is about a half an inch, maybe a little bit more, longer than the 940, and overall blade length, you're talking about maybe like an extra half to 3/4 of an inch. Cutting edge though, you get like a full half inch more with the Paisan, and these are both S90V, but they're obviously, you know, different class of knives. This Paisan costs about twice what the 940 does, but this example of the Paisan is significantly more since it has that custom regrind. But that action is just insane. So you can see just the size differences. I mean, it's night and day, but they're completely different knives, obviously. And I'll give you guys a little sneak peek, and this is the Booz Blade Smoke, and this is another carbon fiber knife that was lent to me from Mike. Mike likes knives, and this is a front flipping carbon fiber titanium gentleman's folding knife, and this has a really nice action, and that front flipping action is just addictive. It's just a fun knife to play with. When I was driving home after I met up with Mike, I literally just front flipped the whole ride home, which was about 20 minutes. I front flipped the thing just literally non-stop until I got back home. It really does have an addictive action. I've been a little bit hesitant to carry this. You know, I've carried it around the house and stuff, but I know Mike uses this. You know, there's definitely like scratches and stuff on it. He doesn't baby it by any means, but I've still been, you know, a little bit cautious with it just because it's a refined knife. It's not, you know, my style like utilitarian folder. But do a size comparison there. No, actually they're about the same length in handle. The Booz Blade Smoke has just a little bit more handle for your hand, meaning like it's a longer knife in hand. There's a little bit that sticks out, and then the 940, you can't see like the butt of it really. My pinky goes like right to the very end of it, whereas the Booz Blade Smoke, a little bit of it sticks off, so you get just a little bit more handle with the Booz Blade Smoke, but the overall length is actually very, very similar. Maybe like an eighth of an inch longer with the Booz Blade Smoke, and then overall blade length, they're like literally almost identical. I think you maybe get, again, like another eighth of an inch more cutting edge with the Smoke, and maybe a quarter of an inch more of overall blade length. So very, very, very similar. The 940 has been a pleasure to carry. I'm really grateful for Mike, you know, letting me use this, letting me sharpen it, and you know, I've taken it to work a bunch of times. I've carried it probably about a dozen times in the past like 3.5 weeks. Of the 3 knives that he let me borrow, this, the Spidey Chef, and the Booz Blade Smoke, I think this would be the one, or if I could pick one to buy, this would be the one. I love the feel of it in hand. Like there's no sharp corners or sharp spots to the knife. It's a fun knife to flip open and to close. Obviously the axis lock is always a joy to use, and it has that Benchmade warranty, which is awesome. But I think this knife is probably the most practical for me, but also has like that fun factor too. The Spidey Chef is cool because you get that like stainless, like completely stainless steel, but this S90V, it's a great steel. The carbon fiber just feels really good in hand. Yeah, I think this would be the one that I have to pick out of the 3. If you guys are in the market for a 940, I highly recommend it. If you're thinking about it, I'd say go for it. I think if you are into knives, and like similar knives as me, and you have like the same taste, I think you'll really enjoy it. And I'll be missing it once I give it back to Mike. So again, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments or email me at iheartknives@yahoo.com. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.